Okay, so end of the night, finally recording this intro. Put a video up at like 10 or something last night. Was not proud of it. Didn't like it. Just felt like I needed to get it out there. And then I sat down and I was like doing a review sheet, and I was like, wait a minute. I just put out a whole video, didn't learn anything. Now making a review sheet, so I just decided to delete that video, start over, go through the whole review sheet, and what do you know? This video is like 10 times better. I actually know my stuff now. I'm not getting confused. So yeah, enjoy. Here's a little montage of me like actually making the review sheet. Just skip like a minute to get to the information. Alright, guys, let's get into it. No time to waste. Hormones, endocrine, and reproduction. This is a little review sheet that you just watched me time lapse, right? We're going to start here at the top. We're just going to work our way straight through. So, starting as cellular signaling. We know endocrine functions, right? We got autocrine, paracrine, endocrine, and neuro. Auto acts on itself, para acts on its neighbors, endo goes to blood, acts on other tissues, and neuro is its own little guy with the little synaptic vesicles. In paracrine, right, neighbors, we've got mediators. We've got PGFs, we got amines, we got prostaglandins. We're worried about these guys here. There's three of them we're worried about. Mitogens, which are insulin and steroids, and they help stimulate mitosis, right? We got trophic factors. Those are going to be in the central nervous system. They are androgynous, and those are going to be like things that like help the cell grow. And then chemoattractants brings immunoglobulins towards them. Think like white blood cell stuff, right? We also got histamines, multiple receptors for them, H1 and H2 receptors. When there is an allergen, mast cells are released, and in response, they can either go to these receptors. They go to the H1 receptor. That's like the traditional allergic response, right? So that's going to be like cell movement. That's going to be restriction of airway. And it's also going to cause some leaky vesicles and some inflammation, which is then going to release some anterior pituitary hormones. And then this guy, H2 receptors, that's just making some gastric acid. Nothing crazy there. Over here, no nitric oxide, right? That's a compound that we need in order to make in order to relax smooth muscle, right? So smooth muscle doesn't like relax on its own. So like when we vasodilate and vasoconstrict, we need a mechanism to do that. This is the mechanism that does it. So there's N-synthase. I forgot what the actual molecules are, but I know it's like A, and I think it's like C or G. It doesn't matter. Just know that the enzyme is G cyclase, and then this is also a big part of it. This is a secondary messenger cascade that's a part of it. So know that CGMP, that'll come up here in a second. General endocrine, right? We'll go follow it right through. We start with a signal, then we get the regulation of the exocrine glands and stuff. We get the response. We get the response that we get the response that we're looking for. That's going to release some ligand, which is then going to bind to, or we're going to cause some calcium spikes, which will open some calcium channels, which will then ultimately end in the fusion of the vesicles to the outside of the cell wall, and then whatever's in the vesicles is going to go with it. We also got peptide amino acid hormones. They're all water soluble except for thyroxine. The receptors are all on the cell surface except for thyroxine, right? For these guys, we need a secondary messenger system. So that's going to be like CAMP or GCMP or I forgot to write this one in, but luckily I actually learned this stuff. So we also got um, PIP2 and DMP, I believe. Let me double check. It wasn't DMP, it was DAG. So those are also secondary messengers that are going to be important. So I might edit something in explaining what they do. Yeah, it's really not that confusing. Basically, the hormone goes and makes the CAMP or the GCMP or, whatever the messenger thing is. And then it's going to go and hit the proteins and then they're going to do the thing. It's literally just adding an extra step because the the molecule itself can't do it. So it needs help. That's pretty much that's what it is. Moving on, we got feedback mechanisms, right? Positive and negative. We know those pretty simple. Positive builds more. Negative is reducing. So think luteinizing hormone and estrogen, right? They build off each other. And then think like blood sugar and insulin. Insulin tries to reduce it. And yeah, we can move straight into hormones. We're kind of just gonna go head to toe with it. Maybe bounce around a little bit here and there. We'll start in the posterior pituitary. We got oxytocin and vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone, whichever you want to call it. Start with oxytocin. Comes from the paraventricular nucleus in the posterior pituitary. Now it's not made there. It's made in the This is not in the posterior pituitary. I lied just now, like I constantly doing. This is in the hypothalamus, right? However, this gives it to the posterior pituitary where this lives, right? So it doesn't make it, it just holds on to it. But that's going to target the uterus and the breasts. It's going to cause contractions, milk letdown, bonding, and it's also responsible for some stuff in motivation pathways. So that's like the cuddle hormone. You can get that from like looking or cuddling with people, dogs. Like it's just the whole bonding thing, right? We've also got ADH vasopressin, which comes from there. It comes from the supraoptic nucleus, also in the thalamus. It targets the kidneys and the blood vessels. It wants to lower the amount that you're producing urine. It wants to constrict the your veins and increase your blood pressure. And if it's inhibited, diabetes insipidus occurs, which is where it's like you just got pee, man. Polyuria, polydipsia. Moving on to the front of the pituitary, we got growth hormone. This is going to be one of the big guns, right? Stimulation for the growth hormone is going to come from a lot of different things, right? I say beat up body because like it's going to come from doing a lot of exercise. It's going to come from sleep. It's going to come from burning a lot of energy. Just pretty much anything that you do to kind of beat up your body a little bit in the hopes of, or not even maybe in the hopes, just like that's just how the body works, right? You beat it up a little bit, you break a little muscle, you make some muscle, you damage a little bone, you build some bone back. So think it is the same way. It's going to go everywhere. It's trying to go all over the place. It's going to supremely increase the amount of protein and amino acid synthesis we have. It's also going to target some IGFs. And then Pig 1. Don't remember. Damn. I'm sure it's important. Oh well. And the things that inhibit this are generally being just unhealthy, right? The worse you eat, the less you're going to produce. The worse you sleep, the less you're going to produce. Obesity is kind of an inhibitor of it, as well as growth hormone inhibiting hormone, which is an important hormone for avoiding things like these guys here. So we'll start here. Gigantism is when you just have too much growth hormone before your bone plates fuse, so you kind of grow in like proportionally, and you just end up just being freaking huge. And then acromegaly is when it happens to an adult, so there's no more growth that can be done, so then you just get like really big hands and like a really big protruding forehead and like just really odd proportions. So that's how you know those are those, and that's coming from a lack of growth hormone, or rather those would be too much. Pygmies. That was what I was getting at. So too much is these guys. Pygmies is the other one. So like, there's a place, um, over in Africa where there's a group of people who don't have IGF-1. That's the one. I'm a smart guy. And because of that, they can't use growth hormone the right way, which causes them to not be able to grow properly. Um, we're gonna move down to prolactin for now. We're gonna come back to these because they're all kind of reproductive guys, so we'll be back up there. But prolactin is coming from lactotrophs, and it is going to target or come from them during suckling, stress. It's going to be target or enhanced by estrogen, oxytocin. It's going to target the mammary glands for milk production, and then the JAK and MAPK pathways are involved in this. Um, Again, not the most certain on what exactly they do. I just know that JAK-STAT inhibitors affect inflammation, and from what I remember during that class assignment, from what I could find out, you have to just be careful when you're pregnant. Hence, maybe why it's showing up in the prolactin area. Um, Either way, it inhibits FSH and LH, which are reproductive hormones, and that helps to space out pregnancies, as to not give a whole bunch of wear and tear on mom, because that'd be rough. That'd be rough. Thyroid, we got thyroglobulin. So that comes from follicle cells in the thyroid, right? It's like this little globulin, this substance that has um, these T3, T4 stuffs in it, right? In order to make T3, T4, we had one of these separate note cards over here explaining that. So in order to make T3, T4, we have tyrosine and iodine. Those mixed together with thyroid peroxidase in the colloid, right? Then cells are going to go ahead and endocytose and eat that colloid. And then when they do that, the T3 and T4 are free to go into the lysosomes of the cell, and then they eventually leave, and that's how we get T3 and T4 to come out. Where were we? Thyroglobulin follicle, yeah. So what this stuff actually does is it's going to increase your metabolic stuff like everywhere, right? We can see it's going to make you do some glycosis. It's going to want to make you do ATP synthesis. You're going to get some growth. You're going to get some mitochondria growth. You're going to get more mitochondria. And it is inhibited by TSH, cold weather, and TRH. Graves' disease is what happened if you have way too much. It's gonna kind of look like somebody's eyes are bulging out of their head. It's called exophthalmos opposed to enophthalmos, where they go, I feel like it's a sunken in type of thing. But yeah, basically you're just on overdrive, so everything's being overproduced, and that's not good, because that can lead to some pretty bad things: sweating, irregular heartbeat, nervousness, weight loss, etc. Not ideal. Moving on to calcitonin, comes from the parafollicular cells, C cells, right? Its stimulus is going to be if there's too much calcium in the blood, it's going to want to lower that calcium, right? And you can see that right there. It's going to target the bones and the kidneys. So in order to lower calcium from blood, it's going to talk to the osteoblasts and say, hey man, we got way too much calcium in this blood. Can you turn it into some bone, please? And the osteoblasts are going to be like, I got you, guy. And they're going to start turning it into bone, And that's how we get rid of the calcium from the blood. Conversely, we look to the parathyroid and we get this PTH from these chief cells, and it's going to react to calcium being too low in the blood. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, we need to pull some calcium out of the bones. Osteoclasts, my boy, why don't you break some bone? And that way we can get some calcium. And that's going to go ahead and do that. They're both going to also talk to the kidneys and say, hey man, we need to make sure we're really keeping and reabsorbing all that calcium. Another thing to note is phosphate works inversely with these enzymes. So with calcitonin, if it's going to lower calcium, it's going to increase phosphate, and then vice versa. If PTH is going to increase calcium, it's going to lower phosphate. So good thing to know. They work kind of against each other in that regard. I forgot to include some stuff, and it's right there. Right there. It's right there. Look at that. Write that down. I'll get back to it. It says a calcium receptor. It is a GCP receptor. Don't forget, Calcitrol comes from vitamin D3. Happens in the skin, made from sunlight. That's probably going to be some questions. We can move down to the adrenal glands, 4 zones: glomerulosa, fasciculata, reticularis, and medulla. Medulla has the catecholamines. That's going to be epinephrine, norepinephrine. Those are going to be made from dopamine. We got aldosterone, we got glucocorticoids, we got androgens. Cortisol is a glucocorticoid that comes from both F and R areas of the adrenal gland, right? It's going to increase a bunch of stuff. So it's going to increase gluconeogenesis, new, glucose, and then genesis make. So it's going to make some glucose. It's going to increase our blood sugar. It's going to stop muscle glucose uptake, which is not great because now it's just kind of floating around. And then it's going to stimulate ACTH, and it's going to raise our stress. Its stimulates are, like the things that stimulate it are ACTH, increase in stress, high levels of potassium. Important things, babies need it for lungs. That's how they make a lot of the fluids in their lungs, and it's how it develops is cortisol. So, like, anybody that says cortisol is fully bad, you needed it as a baby. It made you. Cushing's and Addison's. Cushing's is if you have too much cortisol. Addison's is if you have too little. Addison's is like you're like dizzy, lightheaded, all that stuff. Cushing's is like you can develop like a buffalo hump is what they call it. You can develop muscle weakness, skin ulcers, a moon-shaped face. So a couple different things that can be developed from Cushing's, but it's pretty rare, so you're not probably going to see it all that often. Move on to the pancreas. We saw a lot of this in nutrition, so we'll be quick. Insulin comes from beta cells in the pancreas. It gets stimulated by too high of blood sugar, and it's going to lower that blood sugar. It stimulates glycogenesis, so making glycogen, which is putting two glucose together. So we're getting rid of glucose. We got glycolysis, which is breaking down that glucose. We got fatty acid synthesis, cholesterol synthesis, all trying to just use up that glucose that's in there, Krebs cycle, etc., or electron transport chain. Glucagon comes from out from the cells. It's going to lower your blood sugar, or in response to low blood sugar, it's going to try and raise that blood sugar. Glycogenolysis means to split glycogen, so that's what it's going to do. Gluconeogenesis, I already said it. Glucose new genesis, make new glucose. Then we can oxidate fats, and we got lipolysis as well. So that's all the things that glucagon does in response. Don't forget that acini cells are where you get your digestive enzymes. GLUT4 comes or is tightly interwound with insulin. And then somatostatin comes from the delta cells of the pancreas. It's the things that stimulate it are insulin and glucagon themselves. It regulates those two guys, so it's kind of the chief regulator of everything. And then it inhibits growth hormone, TSH, and prolactin. So, but it itself, this is important. It itself is inhibited by the vagus. I guarantee you that's going to come up. If it doesn't, I'll be remiss, because that just feels like something, What did we miss here over on these guys? Oh, I forgot to talk about sleep, man. Sleep is important. Sleep's real important. Side note from the hormones. In order to go to bed, you need GABA and adenosine. In order to wake up, you need ACTH, dopamine, serotonin, all that stuff. Norepinephrine inhibits your REM. As far as REM, we got REM 1, or NREM 1, NREM 2, NREM 3, and just regular REM. That's going to be 5%. Light sleep, 45% is going to be like the heavy sleep, and where you start to like turn memories into long-term. This is where you do a lot of like healing and growing, and this is where you do your dreaming and like your deep sleep and REM. Teens need less sleep, and they tend to sleep more during the day. Babies don't start sleeping in the nighttime until like month 2. They don't have their own circadian rhythms until like month 3. They don't sleep for more than 6 hours at a time until like month 6. And then by month 12, by the first year, they're sleeping for like ever. So that's some sleep easy stuff. I should probably talk about the diabetes. Diabetes is, I don't know, man. I think that word is funny. Anyways, type 1, born with it. autoimmune disorder. Your guys are attacking your insulin or your insulin supply. There's nothing you can do. Type 2, that's making you made that with bad choices, what you ate, all that stuff mostly. And that's when your cells don't process insulin the same anymore. Diabetes mellitus is pre-diabetes. You'll probably get it in like 2 to 10 years. And then there's a new idea that there's like that Alzheimer's is technically like a diabetes 3 because it also interrupts insulin. But the issues that arise from this are tau protein hypophosphorylation, oxidative stress, and then amyloid B buildup causes like a bunch of plaque to build up, and that's what's going to be bad for the brain. And yeah, now we get to move to the fun part. I get to teach the internet about the birds and the bees. I'm going to be real quick with it because I just genuinely, I feel like it was all pretty well covered already. I'll cover a couple of the hormones, but we'll go quick through it. In the males, testes are your main gamete, right? That's where your spermatogenesis is. The spermatogonia start there. You got seminiferous tubules. You got Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells nourish the guys while they're doing their thing. Seminiferous tubules are in there. That's where it happens. Epididymis is where they are stored and they kind of mature and gain motility. Vas deferens is where they go afterwards, and then this guy is when they're getting ready to leave. And then you parasympathetic to you sympathetic, and then out it goes. Females, you got ovaries that have follicles in them. You got them all since birth. Every once in a while they drop, and that's the menstrual cycle. Oviducts are the tubes that connect to the uterus. Oviducts are where fertilization happens. Uterus is where implantation happens. Vagina is where it all enters. As far as hormones that are a part of that, we got testosterone from Leydig cells. It's going to be largely responsible in born males. It's going to be like promote your secondary sex characteristics. So like body hair and deepening of voice and all of that stuff. We've got good gonad. No, this I believe. Oh, it releases. It's right there. I'm getting cooked, boys. Can you tell? So this guy releases FSH and LH, so he's going to be our gonadotropin releasing hormone. And then these are our gonadotropins, right? LH, this guy tells Leydig cells, hey, make your testosterone, or hey, make your estrogen. TSH, that's going to stimulate the production of T3, T4. That's not reproductive. That's just a fact for you. FSH, that's going to stimulate the release of ABP from Sertoli cells, increased testosterone receptibility. This is all in men. Now realizing I don't see any of the things for women, and I think I missed that slide. So I'm going to pause. Editor Mem is going to come and get real mad at me. I can probably just draw this out real quick, I imagine. So we've got this little guy who kind of goes like this. We've got this John who goes like this. We've got this one who kind of goes like this and then plummets here and then just kind of peters out like that. And then we've got this one who kind of grows and rises over towards the end there. Very, very crude, right? But this is going to be the, oh man, I haven't looked up, I wonder how many times I've been covering what I've been trying to talk about or point at. This is awesome. The orange here, this is going to be luteinizing hormone. The red is going to be estradiol. The yellow is progesterone. And the green is follicle stimulating hormone. I mean, not the green, this color. So you can kind of see the relationship that they all have with one another. Estrogen is going to go way up and plummet until that little, this is the beginning of menstruation here. Yeah, the luteal phase, ovulation. You know, whatever. I guess technically this is the beginning. But I digress. Estradiol climbs until it plummets at that point. Luteinizing hormone is going to peak there. Follicle-stimulating hormone is going to peak there because that's when they all need to be timed out to happen in order to make a baby happen. So, not the best explanation of those things, but hey, I'm trying to be quick, trying to come in under like 28 minutes or 26 minutes or something. So, that's pretty much everything, I think. Yeah. If I missed anything, sorry. Did my best. Good luck on everything with midterms and everything for anyone who has them. Thanks for exercising your brain and learning some stuff if you don't. And catch you guys in the next one. Look out for the anatomy one that's coming soon. It's going to be a banger. I'm going to put a lot more time and effort into that because it's going to need it. I'll tell you what. But peace out. Take care. Be good. See you in the next one. All that good stuff.